Welcome, dear all, to twitch.tv/Wensleydale Cheddar. This is Stammer stream. Two words that continue to sound unnatural together, like mollusk pirates or world trigger. I'm your stammering host, Wensleydale Cheddar, here alongside your non-stammering hosts, Kastor UK, Hovin with an H, and Dr. Nova. Shit, I haven't changed the avatars. So it'll be Greil 9 here, but imagine that it's Hovin. All right? I'm sure no one will have a problem with that. Isn't that right, Hovin?
Yeah. What are you talking about? I am Greil.
You got a whole episode now, you know.
I was playing this really fun tabletop game the other day.
Oh god.
I don't believe you are Greil. Greil wouldn't call anything fun.
Oh. This is bullshit! Bullshit!
I'm sorry, Greil. So, how are you guys doing this week?
I'm alright. I've been left alone in the house, in my family's house, to dog sit for the weekend. So, I'm now dealing with the stress of, oh god, I have to keep a living creature alive for 4 days. What do I do?
Yeah, I've been trying to survive the Kentish heatwave and trying not to melt. It's reached a whole 27 degrees. I know, my god.
Oh. I've been doing remarkably well. I've had a pretty productive week. I've finished a lot of character sprites for Penganta, got some scripting done, completed my portion of event reviews on the forum. Then I've watched the Death Note Netflix film, which I probably want to save my thoughts on since I'd like to do a commentary with you sometime soon. But yesterday we have been given a whole new controversy to discuss about. Guys, the new YouTube layout. Yay or nay?
Nay.
Nay. This all the buttons and clips and stuff are too big. They take up too much of the screen.
Nay, I don't like change.
No, make it go back. We're old and curmudgeonly now.
Making the YouTube layout was. I guess I wouldn't be that old to recall even the oldest YouTube layout. But anyway,
I remember when I was super down on the last mobile layout we had, and then I just got used to it. I'm guessing the same thing is going to happen with this.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Either you accept change or Stockholm syndrome.
But that said,
no alternative.
I still hate the circular avies on Twitter. Why can't they go back to square?
Let me just check my Twitter. And yep, those are two very circular things you've just posted, Herman.
Wait, what? I haven't been on Twitter enough to recall square avatars.
Oh yeah, the Alice picture. Yeah.
I love it comes up in case you missed it. Hoven posted Alice with boobs.
Yeah. Okay. I've got too many tabs open right now, so I reckon it won't. Yeah. Yeah. I see that. Yeah.
That was a long wait to see,
Because you were just like, oh, I see circular things. I'm like, which one is he talking to? It could be any manner of
Which one? There's so many on my page.
I haven't had it open. Don't judge me.
Oh, that was the longest wait for the softest core pornography.
So speaking of softcore pornography, oh shit, we don't have Fairy Tail right now, so I can't segue to Fairy Tail. But anyway, the next best thing, One Piece. Shall we move on to the review portion?
Yeah, sure. So this is One Piece 876.
The chapter that surely everyone liked and no one could possibly have any problem with, right, Kastor?
Yeah, exactly.
I liked this chapter. This
Oh.
answered a lot of problems for me.
Really?
Because, shall we start off with it then?
Yeah, so Pudding is in fact conflicted Pudding.
Pudding has gone insane, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I loved the entire chapter where she was flip-flopping between panels, because over the last few weeks we've had her flip-flopping at the end of chapters, and it's just like, what's going on here? It's, oh, this is a setup for a joke, and this is quite funny. Because she's just insane. She flip-flops back between hating Sanji and loving Sanji, and saving Sanji, trying to kill Sanji. And my favourite part of the entire chapter is where everyone just looks at her and goes, oh my god, she's a tsundere.
She's a pundere.
Is that a tsundere that makes terrible puns?
No, it's Pudding's.
I think it's just a terrible pun, Kastor.
Is Pundere in the chapter?
No.
Thank God.
Credit to the One Piece podcast for making up that phrase.
Okay.
Okay, good. Because if that was in the chapter, it was like, God damn it, Viz.
like there was a lot to like about this chapter. The entire thing about I spent about complaining about what the hell is going on with Pudding. Just like, oh, this was all intentional. This wasn't lazy writing, or this was I fucked up a bit. Okay, here's an answer to why it's like that. Oh no, I do quite like this Pudding twist. Also, the fact that as Sanji sees that she's mental, he's significantly less into her. He's actually able to interact with her as a normal person, which is either massive character growth for him or contrivance for the sake of plot.
I think it's just due to the situation, but when all of this is over, he's just gonna start fawning over her all over again.
It is definitely possible.
So I don't think this ending of Pudding's storyline is any of us expected, and I mean it in the best way possible. I think with all the series build up of Pudding's storyline, it's all the more funny when it ends out on a pretty basic tsundere joke. I mean, we made a lot of predictions of how this plot thread would end, but such a basic thing never came up in our conversations, and I think that surprise is part of why Oda's so effective, not only in storytelling in general, but particularly in comedy, since surprise is such an important element of it. And I love all sorts of goofy faces we get from Pudding in this chapter.
They are great. Like she goes through so many different personalities.
I've been hearing a lot of sort of mixed feelings on this particular segment of the arc, just in terms of it. Ever since the wedding, it has been quite a few straight chapters of just them running, of like a big chase scene.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I tend to like the big chase scenes in One Piece, and this one has had loads of cool stuff along the way, like Nami's big Thor, Thor-esque Thunderbolt tempo, and just, Big Mom just pulling out all the stops to try and get to get them. But I do kind of find myself wondering, okay, how long is this last bit of the arc going to take? Like, how long is it going to take them to, like, make the cake and try and sort everything out? I am slightly starting to feel arc fatigue now.
It is definitely feeling like it's going to drag. The moment I saw the panel where they're describing their plan of, this arc's not going to end with us getting to the Sunny and escaping. It's going to end with us taking the Sunny, leading Big Mom to Cocoa Island, and then making a cake and delivering it to her. And it's like, I was thinking this is slightly starting to drag when I thought the end goal was reach the Sunny and run. And there's an entire second section of this. It's like,
And I do wonder, like, are they just gonna like skip ahead to when the bits of the plan have been put into motion already, or are they gonna show every like process?
Yeah.
I hope it's the former.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how to feel about any of this. Being honest, maybe it's just because it's not really my type of humor. But I have no idea how to feel about the Pudding reveal. in this chapter. I don't know if I like it. I don't know. I definitely find it dumb, but I think that's kind of the point a little bit, so I can't really put that as like a negative against it. But it's certainly something that maybe I'll have to see where it goes. But if this is where it's meant to, like if this is just the end of it,
in a different setting, so maybe I could get more skeptical of this if pudding being tsundere ends up as a running gag, like if it were in Bleach, the basis of which takes place in a high school scenario. But when you have a tsundere character in a Game of Thrones / piratey adventure world, you can see it from a whole new perspective. And even though it's such an old cliche, I find something really refreshing about this.
Maybe it's and again, we say like Game of Thrones, the like pirate world, they're still mostly like 19 or so, which is sometimes hard. It's hard to remember at some point, but I think they are all around that age.
I think they're 21 now-ish.
Yeah, no,
Brooke isn't.
Luffy's 19, Brooke's like 90. Frankie's
I think Zoro's
30?
21. I think Sanji's like 20.
No, so Sanji's 21 and Nami is 20, and Usopp is also 19.
And then Chopper's 17, isn't he?
Yeah, which is really hard to believe, but...
Speaking of, that is like Brooke and Chopper teaming up to defend the Sunny. They are the oldest and the youngest crew members.
Yeah,
so they're gonna get destroyed. I'm sorry.
That was a really cool part of this chapter. I really liked that. Like,
it was really cool, but at the same time, I can't think that anything else is gonna happen next week than them just getting their butts kicked, because there are so many powerful characters.
I have an idea of another thing that could happen. It could end up that that Luffy and crew arrive and they manage to strike a deal with Katakuri, because okay, we're trying to calm down Mum as well. Can we like hold a truce until we figure this out?
Maybe there's a reason he hasn't stepped in the fight yet. So I'm predicting that he sees a future where he doesn't want to kick their asses, but it's like, oh, here's a token of resistance, so Mum doesn't yell at me later.
But they're also aware that, like, because the person who first lied to Big Mom and told them to go up to the Straw Hats is on the ship.
Yeah.
Like, it's the candy guy. So I can't assume that, like, they're thinking too far ahead. Like, because if they were going to do that, I think they would just, like, take out the Sunny completely.
I think Katakuri might be just saving that reveal to himself for the time being. We still don't know exactly how his foresight works, so maybe because he could have a margin of error.
Because if this plan goes properly, the candy guy is going to live, because he told Big Mom that the Straw Hats have the cake, and the Straw Hats are going to make the cake and deliver it during this plan. So if Karakuri can see the future, then standing by and letting the Straw Hats sail off is going to save his brother.
I think it's, and again, maybe this is just like me seeing patterns in One Piece in general. I think it's going to be a lot less complicated than we might be predicting that it's going to end up being, but that's just my opinion on that one.
Sort of like Pudding with all her nuances ended up being a tsundere joke.
Yeah, that's just I feel like we look for complexity in One Piece a lot, where it's not always there.
On the Pudding side, I think there was the complexity in it wasn't on the character; it was on the presentation, because Oda. At the end of the last two chapters, the twist was, Pudding's not what we expected her to be. Twice. He set that up, and looking back, again, I'm going to need to reread this entire arc so I can actually put it in perspective. But not in the way Pudding's is as a character, but the way she's been portrayed, it's been very clever, playing with the audience's expectations, getting this debate up over whether she's good or evil, and playing it up so to the point where it looks almost like bad writing, but it's on purpose. It's the point of that's what I've enjoyed most of it, the playing with expectations and realizing this chapter that whether it was intentional from the start or not, Oda pulled this off.
I'm still waiting for her powers to get, maybe kind of woven a little better into the whole picture. But speaking of complexities, if you think about it, I kind of appreciate how One Piece of all manga shows us the inner workings of how one becomes a tsundere character. And to be fair, her motivation doesn't really make a lot of sense, as we pointed out. Yeah, among all those weirdos around you, you were the only one they called ugly just because you have a bloody third eye. Yeah, sure. It's a weak point of the arc, but it's still better reasoning for contradictory feelings about a person than Mavis and Zerov, though.
Yeah. I think this, at the very least, this redeems her for me above something like, say, Rebecca.
Yes, which was a mistake in a character that Oda couldn't quite save.
Overall, I think it's one of the best possible results of that storyline I could come up with. So, yeah.
Yeah. Also, there's something else I noticed about this chapter, which, going back into our conversation about arc fatigue, I was mentioning last week about how the art was getting sketchy and sloppy. And this week, it's gone back to its usual high quality. But I also noticed that a lot of the backgrounds of panels are just speed lines. So I was wondering if that was the trade Oda did, that to keep the focus of the art up, he sacrificed the backgrounds, because a lot of these look like Bleach panels.
I don't think so, because the majority of backgrounds are done by assistants, at least in Oda's case. He always said that at this point he draws whatever's moving.
Ah, interesting. Then that's weird.
Maybe it was just not a great week for his assistants.
Very possible. Whatever the reason, I do appreciate the art being back up to snuff.
I also really like that Sanji is going to join Chiffon and Pudding in the final making of the wedding cake, even if it may drag things a little bit. So, because one of the things I really like about One Piece is that certain characters don't have to contribute to the plot just by fighting, that there are more ways characters can be useful, and you can really see it in this arc previously with Chopper, Brook and Nami, and now with Sanji.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I really like the moment when Sanji puts his trust in Chopper and Brook and just goes on to make the cake.
Can I also point out that I'm very disappointed in the art for the flashback? None of these trees are surrounded in black panels. This is not a One Piece flashback. I have no idea what's going on.
It's some bullshit right here.
It's yeah, I've always wondered about that. The flashbacks are usually in completely black panels, and then the flashbacks within the flashback, as we have seen in Dressrosa, are sort of put in these grey panels. So yeah,
I think it's sort of meant to be like, if you miss the start of the flashback, if you understand the tag, that if you miss the chapter of One Piece where they started a flashback, it's like, oh, what the hell's going on? Why is Luffy 12? Oh, it's a flashback. There's black panels.
Or he just used gear third.
Or that also might be the reason why I've got a power that makes my character look like they're 12. How the hell am I going to make this visible week to week?
All right. Shall we look at Food Wars?
Yeah, let's move on.
Sure.
So that's Food Wars Shokugeki no Soma, chapter 228.
So basically, everyone's lost, but that was kind of the plan from Erena's side all along.
Yeah.
I do have one... There is one thing about this chapter that is very odd to me. And that is, it opens up with, all of the central guys basically explaining why they're Dish 1, except for Rindo's.
That was
I
I
interesting.
still don't know what she made.
They left hers out for some reason, and I don't know if this was intentional, if this like, if or if it was just an oversight. I feel like it has to be intentional.
Well,
Like-
you know, Hovin. Nobody reads Food Wars just to see Rindo. But who cares about Rindo? I mean, am I right? Who cares about Rindo?
Yeah, we all care about well-written characters. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I do think I don't know. My theory is that they're going to flash back to this and bring it up later to some sort of effect. But that was one thing that I was like, hold on, when I read through this.
It's bizarre. It really is.
Yeah. I was kind of disappointed by that Megashima's perfect trace was beaten by it being not a perfect trace.
Mimasaka's, yeah.
That one. Oh yeah, Megashima was the ramen guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect trace guy. Because that was disappointing. Like the fact that they'd set the entire thing up as this, as I can literally copy everything about you. It's like, well, how did I lose? You didn't copy everything perfect about me. Especially when, like, with that sort of style, you could say that by adding something on top of it, it disrupted the rest of the meal, which I always thought was going to be his downfall at some point. That it, like, if doing something +1 doesn't quite work in all circumstances.
Yeah, there are certain details in this chapter, though, that have me kind of scratching my head. Like, at one point, when they're talking about how Tsukasa made his dish, they have the quote of, like, he had but a few hours once the theme was decided. Which I sort of have to ask, how long are these matches?
Yeah! Because I got the impression it was an hour had gone past at max.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
better question is, how do these people stay on their seats and still have enough energy to say, the rebel in the eyes of those filthy rebels? Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, Central must be handing out, like, coffee and cocaine to its audience or something. Because, jeez, like, when they say a few, they say a few, I'm gonna be as generous as I can and say that, okay, probably 2 hours or so are given to each match. If that's, like, from a few, that's the minimum I can give. With time in between given to, like, have meetings and stuff like that, which sounded like it was around an hour, then from the sound of things, this contest will be going on for over 12 hours straight, which sounds insane to me.
It does make the idea of tiring the opponents out like a more feasible plan.
Yeah.
But nothing of how this has been written implied it was taking this long, which is weird.
I mean, manga-wise, I get the, like, suspension of disbelief thing, particularly in a cooking manga, where if you're actually doing it in real time, yeah, this is going to take forever. I get that you have to skip. And maybe it was just a mistranslation. Because if it was just 1 hour, like I thought it was, that would make sense. That's a good amount of time for people to go through. And, like, okay, 6 hours or so, yeah, it's kind of a long show. But, I mean, you can sit down for that. But when they say a few, and, like, when you consider how much is given to each match, that just sounds crazy.
So guys,
Yeah.
maybe not One Piece, but Food Wars is the Game of Thrones of manga. Maybe season 7 Game of Thrones.
Oh boy.
So everyone's going to get jetpacks and travel all around Japan.
I do love how in the show, to make Littlefinger's scenes work, they figured out he either has
Spoilers, by the way.
Cadillac or teleports around.
I was so hoping for that reveal at some point.
I mean, we've
This is
already
my
introduced the
automobile.
concept of time loops. I'm sure it's not that big of a jump.
That Littlefinger just walks out into a field and then opens a door in the air itself and steps through. It's like, holy shit, he's a wizard!
That would be kind of cool. But yeah.
Anyway,
he
this
becomes
is
Bruno.
this is a minor thing, but I do really like the color spread of the elite 10 members who are in this round, just like all chilling out, and Rindo's outfit looks very nice as well.
I am surprised you did not comment on that shot where she falls over in exhaustion and is literally presenting.
Well, that's part of that's part of the course of the series, isn't it?
I mean, if I can go off of something in that color spread as well, I really want Tsukasa's sweater. That is
Oh
a nice
yeah,
choice.
it's so fabulous.
I really want that.
Yeah.
So, overall, yeah, I still think things are, for the time they are presenting, things are going a little too fast, but overall, I was able to enjoy this chapter. I like this little display of strategy from Erina, even though I don't think we have ever seen her as much of a strategist. But anyway, it's nice to see that Megishima and Subaru's sacrifice aren't a waste. I still think...
they're they're a little bit of a waste.
Well, it is implied. It is outright said that they weren't a waste in universe.
But I think that's the problem. Like, last week was a really, really good setup of this is how strong the Elite Ten are. And this week is like, no, this is all part of my cunning plan. We have lost nothing.
Keikakudori.
It's, yeah.
I guess strategic-wise, and look, there's the meta, and then there's the non-meta. In the meta reasoning, I understand why you would leave, like, Aldini and Tadakuro and everyone for later on. I understand that. Within the actual, like, world, though, I'd like...
It's a really dumb idea.
I mean, look, Subaru as the sacrificial lamb I get. Aldini kind of sucks.
Although...
Aldini really sucks.
Although we...
He lost to Mimisaka.
Although... I also I do like the suggestion that Soma is not intentioned to be a challenger that's gonna make it to the final round. Even if that possibly is the case, given that this may well be the final arc of the series, it makes sense from an in-universe standpoint to save Ishiki and Erina for last.
It would be nice. However, considering how much of this arc has focused, for being a team competition, considering how much this arc has always refocused back on Soma, I'm skeptical.
I also can't imagine that they're going to do the same strategy twice, in the sense that, like, haha, now once again you've kicked our asses and we've tired you out again. It's like, yeah, but now there's like...
There's none of you, we won, we're really tired,
yeah,
you lost.
Like, now there's just 2 of you and 5 of us. I think you're still fucked. It's like, but you're sleepy, right?
And as you're sleeping, we kill all of you and take the council. And then, well, this got dark quickly.
It's like, why didn't we just do this first?
Wait, come to think of it.
I've been trying to get a point in for ages.
Okay.
Sorry. No, I was just gonna say, like, the end of this chapter, whereas like the 3 first years are gonna be the next people on the resistance side. It made me realise, wow, it's been bloody ages since Megami's done anything, hasn't it?
Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and predict she's going to go up against Azon in order to her to have kind of revenge for the fall of her local cuisine research society.
Oh yeah.
Possibly. I would quite like to see Azon being put up in the round against. So I do like that idea. Him being put up in the round with Soma in it, but not being allowed to fight Soma.
Yeah.
Like him fuming for the entire thing and then Megami kicking his ass would be very funny to watch.
And all right, we've talked about him to death, but and I know you guys don't care about Takumi, but I'm really happy that next time we're going to see him in the spotlight, since all in all, when I have a major supporting character who has been out of spotlight for a long time, I think I find it a better choice from the narrative standpoint to give them some much-deserved development than get rid of them altogether.
Oh no, I completely agree. I've never been the biggest fan of him, but like, if he's gonna be a focus of the story, give me a reason to care about him. Like,
I would agree if Takumi was a major interesting character.
no, make him interesting is what I'm saying.
I like
And giving him a time in the spotlight is an opportunity to do that, even if the series won't necessarily.
I like him fine, but there is actually a reveal in this chapter of something I didn't notice. Apparently, the way the Regiment de Cuisine is working is we're having a different match every single day.
Wait, what? But
Yeah,
those were two matches. Those were two matches, one after another.
Yeah, but Tsukasa says, as you heard, I'll be taking tomorrow off. So I think what's happening is, like, all the other matches are happening tomorrow. Which really calls into question the whole, hey, we've tired you out plan.
Yeah.
If they could just go the fuck to sleep.
Like,
No. He said that a good night's sleep wouldn't be enough for him to regain his strength. Then again, if Momo and okay, but
It's kind of that weird, like, metaphor thing that Food Wars does, where, like, it's basically equating the food battles to, like, actual fights, and, like, having the same after effects of, oh god, we've worn them out, even though that doesn't really work with the actual activity.
God forbid this guy has to cook breakfast. It's like, all right, I've made eggs Benedict. I'm done for the day. He just falls into a coma. It's like
just falls into the eggs Benedict.
Though if they have 5 people on the team, and if I don't know, Momo and Azon are going to lose, then if we have 2 matches a day, then he'll have to go out on the. He'll have to participate nonetheless. So.
But he'll get that extra 3 hours per match of sleeping time that they'll also get. This is assuming, of course, he doesn't try to make some toast in the morning to wake himself up and then has to go back to sleep.
But of course, we all know this is all bullshit, because we all know after 8 hours sleep, you get a long rest and get all your stats back.
I was going to say, is there a Shokugeki no Soma Pokemon Center around here we can send these guys to?
That'd be... A lot of this chapter does not make sense.
I love this manga so much.
I will admit, it has been better. I fell off it for a bit, but I enjoy this. I'm enjoying this arc at the moment. The high pace is allowing me to skim over the bits I'm not so keen on.
Yeah, and I think the Japanese public agree with you, because it's doing a lot better in the rankings again now.
I still think you could have given a little more attention to Kuga and Tsukasa's match to make it more effective, but yeah, that's just a minor point, since Kuga's fun pettiness in this chapter makes up for it as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, they should. That was a massively wasted opportunity, but it's a give and take. Also, can any of us actually bring themselves to read the science descriptions of how the hell they're cooking this stuff?
Jonah?
That's what I wait for the anime for.
I'll tell you one thing about this. This shit sure as fuck wouldn't take 2 hours.
Yes.
I just, like, when they're explaining the way that Tsukasa made his purees and stuff like that, I'm just like, and what, was he, like, playing Fire Emblem for the other part of it? I mean, look.
He was just sitting there with Candy Crush.
First of all, this doesn't even sound that good. I get, maybe it's really delicious. I admit I've never eaten it out. But when he's just like, yeah, I made a bunch of purees and stuff like that would not take this time at all. Look, Megashima's dish, I get taking so long. Kuga's dish, I get taking so long. This does not take 2 hours, and when you consider the fact that, like, tuna is best eaten so quickly after it's been cut off, I also have to ask what the hell the, like, sushi guys were doing for that entire time.
Also, Megashima, also, in case I get the name wrong, also Subaru managed to smoke vinegar during this time. Like, that I can see taking a while. Also, Tsukasa made essentially ice cream. How is it not melted?
I mean, essentially you chill the plate, which is like
For
again
4 hours?
not for hours. What you're saying, again, this is a weird like food technical thing, but basically you make the ice cream, which actually doesn't really take that long to churn. You can get it done pretty quickly, and then you just chill the plate in like a fridge for a few minutes if you want, and then just take it out.
Yeah. But none of it. Yeah. All this timing is confusing.
Incredibly so.
I'm just gonna mention that I like the little moment of Ishiki acknowledging Eren as the leader.
Fair enough.
It's kind of nice, but yeah. Do we have anything else to say about this, or shall we move on to my hero?
Yep.
I'm fine to move on.
Okay. So that's my hero. Chapter 150.
I really enjoyed this chapter. This was great.
Yeah.
It's got the slight problem of everyone who's not in Class A can literally take out 3 villains by themselves, but it was very enjoyable, and like Mirio was actually able to be effective and cool, which I was actually wondering how they were going to show him off. Even if he did name his attack after a prequel.
That's what I was thinking. Is like, is Horikoshi going to become the movie references guy, of like to what JoJo's does?
I really hope
music
so.
References.
I really hope that all of his moves are based off of like really shitty sequels or prequels to him. Things like he has a speed attack and he's like, "Go, the quickening," and he just like bursts across.
I am waiting for like.
Then he takes Kaminari as his apprentice and teaches him Electric Boogaloo.
Like, I am waiting for him to use an after image technique with his phasing powers and call it Attack of the Clones, and then have Overhaul essentially with his finishing move punch him in the face and just say "Revenge of the Sith" and just no context.
There is a nice detail of Mirio activating his quirk for his foot so as to not hit Eri. And this is I think right after us flashing back again to when he couldn't control his quirk properly, so it really shows how much control he now has over it.
Yeah,
I love that the other guy's quirk is it's literally called slosh, like sloshed in the official translation, and this quirk is just like, yeah, you come near me, you get drunk as shit.
I also like the idea that it also affects him, so he just drinks constantly because why not?
And he's upside down.
Like, yeah, he's had to live with his balance being like continuously impaired. So he's just like, screw it, I can do whatever the fuck I want. It can't get any worse.
Which, if that's the case, knives seem like a very bad choice of weapon for him.
It should be beer bottles.
Beer bottles are like something that like can't very easily be dropped. It's like, I just imagine this guy like going to get another beer and then just like dropping the knives under whoever's under him, like, god damn it. I fucking hate drunk bee mask guy.
I do really like Sakaki and Nemoto, even though I couldn't imagine myself remembering them better afterwards if we spend a little more time with them previously. But I find it interesting that Nemoto says, "You need to do nothing but shut up and support me, for I am special." It's kind of intriguing that he says all that, given that he's one of the 8 bullets, and they think themselves of as trash anyway, and he has this kind of pompous attitude, this kind of pride to stand out from the rest of the trash.
And also, his quirk is lame in a fight. He's literally a dude with a gun. like I love his quirk. It's like do you remember in Bleach when Kubo made the character that makes everyone's costume, so there was a reason for everyone having a costume change. I've been waiting.
I don't recall
I
it.
remember her. I remember her.
Yeah, she was one of the elite guard, the Zero Division.
Oh, okay.
This is the equivalent in My Hero, which is the guy who literally makes you describe your quirk in universe. It's like instead of the box popping up a couple of chapters in saying this is how his quirk works, it's like, my quirk is exposition. It forces you to explain to the reader exactly what you're doing.
Though in a fight, it's maybe a bit ineffective, but in a universe for a Yakuza member, it's really a good quirk. It's really a useful thing to have.
And he's used it as such. He used it on Twice and Toga, and made them reveal their quirks, and then asked them if Hand on Face guy was going to betray them, and they only got away with it because of the wording.
And also he never mind. I forgot what was I going to say. Yeah, carry on.
So how badly do you reckon Overhaul is going to kick Mirio's ass?
It's going to be a curb stomping.
I'm not sure necessarily, because I feel like if it was any other character, I'd be like, oh, definitely, Mirio's screwed. But Mirio does actually have a quirk that lines up very well considering what Overhaul's ability is.
Yeah.
I think what this is probably going to be is a handicap match, in the sense that I feel like Mirio's probably going to be protecting Eri the entire time. Because with Overhaul, and okay, I'm making a bit of a jump here, and maybe we're going to find out some big twist about the character where he does actually have some form of caring for her. But he's probably not going to care if he hurts Eri in the crossfire, because his literal ability is to just rebuild people.
Yeah.
So,
I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a cool fight, but the way they've set up Mirio, which is that on paper he should be the one to succeed All Might, but we've seen a number of times he doesn't quite have the spirit of All Might in him. Like, I really like the comparison we've had with both with him and Deku, and also the comparison between I want to call him Nightwing because that's essentially who he is. The new guy who was All Might's sidekick. I've forgotten his name.
Oh, Sir Night-Eye.
Night-Eye, yeah. Can you see why I want to call him Nightwing? With Night-Eye and All Might, because Night-Eye essentially tried to analyze what All Might was and recreate it, whereas All Might's always it's an act. You have just had to get everyone to believe it, and so you've got Mirio, who's the perfect on paper, but doesn't quite have the mentality of the All Might level hero, and then there's Deku, who's flawed on paper but has that driving spirit that will let him become the next symbol of peace.
Though I kind of also going on with Mirio and the last few pages, I think this chapter has a really good message of you can't hide your weaknesses or pretend they don't exist if you want to overcome them. Going on with Mirio, so I'm really looking forward to see how this development goes, and I really don't think this arc is Mirio's exit from the story.
Agreed.
But if he were to lose against Overhaul, there's no really going about it apart from him apart from him just being decomposed. So
Oh, I think I know what could happen. He resigns from hero work. He finds himself a nice place, gets a little white snowy dog, and starts solving mysteries.
or
And
rewriting
maybe
histories.
while he's there, he'll find Suyu, Uraraka, and all the other people who have still been just outside this
And
entire
all the
time.
other girls. Yeah. I'm starting to lose hope. Like, narratively, we've gotten to the part of the story where we're moving into Endgame, and we haven't seen them, and it's disappointing.
I
Like, if
I
juicy
imagine
people
that
be a
they're going to stay outside the hideout for the rest of the manga, and just nobody's going to tell them that okay, Eri is captured. Okay, we can go back now. Now they're just going to stay like there and just stand there.
if they reach this part in the anime, and I imagine they will, the anime is going really strongly. I'd really like to see the filler fight going on outside, given the same weight as Kirishima's.
I'd like to see anything. So like I swear, if we just cut back to it and they're like, "Wow, that sure was tricky, ladies, wasn't it?" Like, god damn it, damn it.
You know we're going to. We're gonna get a shot of them as we enter the climax of them having beaten up the guys outside, and then looking up as, I don't know, Deku punches Overhaul through the roof or something, and they have their fight on the rooftop or whatever. Yeah, it's disappointing. But I managed to annoy myself because I really enjoyed this chapter. It was really good, and it's like, I wish we could see the girls fight.
That has
damn
literally
it.
been the whole arc for me, to be honest. Like, this is cool. Can we focus on the girls outside, please?
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's the norm for the medium, but when it's like One Piece, where I hold my hero to a higher standard of, I know it's the norm, but I also know you're better than this as a writer.
Yeah, I've seen you do better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall we move on to Black Clover? Is it-
Still knocking it out of the park, I'd imagine.
There was
So,
a chapter
It's
this week.
brilliant. Right, yeah, let's see.
So that's chapter
Okay, let's
100
see.
chapter 122. My way.
Okay,
Or the
skimming through
highway.
it. Has to get some big power up, takes out bad guy, is the gist that I get from it.
Before Kastor rips it apart, I'm gonna just give a compliment to the chapter. It really has a nice landscape full page spread for the second stage round. A really nice background artwork from Tabata and his assistants.
Is the chapter made better if you listen to the Frank Sinatra song My Way while reading it?
It can't be made worse.
I'll just sing it softly in the background while all of this is going on. Regrets. You guys have to talk, otherwise. Regrets.
So,
yeah.
what do we think of Asta's attack?
There was a lot of black. I haven't seen that much black on the page since, Big Guy fought in Bleach.
I'll say it clear. I don't know the rest. I know the rest of the words. It just gets very loud after this.
No, I don't have the energy to hate Black Clover anymore. I don't care about it enough. But just have Acid drawing the sword and being instantly able to do something on this scale annoys me even then.
Yeah, is it all right for me to say that with fake Zergs, who was already a bit on the winning side, and Asta's demon powers, which he seems to have full control over right now, the team is a little overpowered?
And that's even beyond the fact that Asta's original power of being overpowered is like, no magic works against me, and also protagonist syndrome, where Black Clover has yet to make me think that Asta can't win a fight.
Even so, I'd like to see Magnus Wing clash with Asta as it's the first match of the second round is introduced, and it's Magnus Wing, Soul, and Kirsch against Fake Zergs, Asta, and Mimosa. Yeah, I'd like to see Magnus Wing clash with Asta. Maybe at least him losing to the overpowered newbie could potentially make for some interesting development for him. Because at this point, I don't really have the illusion that maybe Asta is going to turn out to be an interesting character for me. But now I maybe just see him as more of a vehicle for other characters like Finral, for example, to get interesting, because Finral has had a mostly positive response from us in every instance he's been in the manga. So the manga can get good when it's not focusing on Asta, or when we are not focusing on Asta.
No, I agree with that. Asta is one of the worst things about this series. Sorry, I'm being really negative. The problem is I don't have anything to say that's good about Black Clover. It's not a series for me, and yeah. Sorry, I'll stop just destroying it for no reason. Because I don't hate it. I just don't think it's good at all.
Yeah.
I just think it's a drag because it's all very similar. It's just kind of like, Asta, oh my god, Asta cut through the guy's magic. It's like, well, yeah.
Again.
Well, no shit. It's like, so like, and look, it is cool. It's a cool panel. But I'm just sort of tired of this always being how it goes every single time, and the manga expecting this big reaction. It's like the equivalent of every single One Piece being like, holy shit, Luffy can stretch. It's like, yes, we've established this. We're aware, and it's just...
And the other section, yeah.
It's just all very similar, and it's not... Look, I'm sure to some people... Not every single manga needs to have interesting, innovative fights. I understand that. It can just be some cool action here and there. And this does look cool. I get that.
Does it?
I get that. Well, no. Look, I get the want of it to be more of a spectacle. The idea of just like, let's make it more of a spectacle thing. Let's not make it as much of a intellect kind of thing. I get that. And some people read manga for that. That's perfectly fine. But even in this case, I wonder if it starts to get a little grating in the sense that, has Asta ever done anything that hasn't just revolved around like, my opponent does something and then now it's gone.
Yeah, also, I think if it's going for spectacle, I have a problem with it because I don't think the art's good enough for it to sell itself on spectacle. Like, this scene of Asta drawing the sword is okay. But it's sort of like, there's not much going on. There's like stuff going off up in the background. All that's really interesting about his character is half of him's gone black a bit.
I've always found the art style for Black Clover just... I think the best word to put it is just kind of lame.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it looks to me.
Okay, I've found like the best panel for it. You know, the page after he does the Black Sword Bonkai. There is a panel of him in this whirlwind of black energy, and it literally looks like the mangaka's taken a brush and just swirled it across a picture he'd already drawn. It doesn't look like if you're trying to draw a vortex of energy, this is not a good way to do it. It doesn't imply power. It doesn't imply speed. It doesn't imply interest. And the fact that a lot of the pages are white and not shaded, especially when, like, here's this new environment. Like, the idea of here's the second fighting arena. Just like, Okay, some of the trees are sort of like cross-shaded, but the rest of it is just white, 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 brick, white, white, white. I guess that's water. It's a bit grey. If Black Clover wants to sell itself on spectacle, it needs better art. If it wants to sell itself on story, it needs better story. If it wants to sell itself on character, it needs to ditch Asta and put some character in people. Like we were talking last week about how Noelle lost her one interesting quality by beating her brother without any trouble. And I realise I've just said this after I said I don't want to hate on Black Clover.
I'm just now wondering, ever since the power-up came up, I guess, was it even would it even be a problem? Would Kirsch's powers be a problem for Asta if he just had his single magic nullifying sword?
It shouldn't be. Like, he wouldn't be able to do the entire thing where he negates the entire battlefield. Because none of his Sakura should be able to hit him.
Yeah, I guess that the range is a problem, maybe, or and that makes for an interesting limitation. And there is, I guess, maybe the amount of magic that he can cut through is limited for a certain period of time. But I don't know. I'm just guessing. Maybe if it were explained a little better, I could enjoy Asta's fights more as if we had this limitation, then we could see a little more tension, but otherwise, I can't really.
I know, I agree. The magic in Black Clover needs explanation, needs a followable logic behind it to carry tension.
The one Asta fight I liked was last round when he wasn't that much in focus and he was just focusing on defense. And again, if he had that limitation that maybe okay, all right, it's too magic for me to absorb. It's coming from all sides. I can't absorb it. It's a problem. Okay. So, maybe this would be a little better, but if you were just to mention it, then it just would be fine. Also, one thing I liked when I read it is how when Kirsch insults Team Asta, saying that the filthy, Mimosa goes out of her way to say that no. Asta is very much not filthy. I'm sure he cares about his daily hygiene perfectly well.
Nope.
Yeah, haven't like, isn't it? It has been established a number of times that Asta doesn't like bathe as much as he should.
What the fuck's a shower? Whee!
That's another thing Black Clover should try and define itself. It needs better humor.
Another reason why I can't understand why Annalisa is so so huge on that, but then really salty at Dr. Stone.
Well, I get that. I think it's the same reason in reverse that I like one and not the other.
Okay, I guess.
But apparently she's read a lot of series similar to Dr. Stone and is annoyed that it's getting so much praise because it's good, but it's not as good as everyone thinks. Whereas I've read a lot of manga that are very, very similar but better than Black Clover. And I have no idea why this thing is popular. It is the most meh series I've ever read.
I think it's a simple matter of lots of young kids read this magazine. It is Shonen Jump and instant gratification spectacle.
Well, yeah, you don't have to think about Black Clover to get it.
I think that will continue to give it popularity for a time being, but I think, like with Fairy Tail, that will peter off over time if it doesn't innovate or do something some form of interesting development.
Noelle just gets massive boobs out of nowhere.
What do you mean? What do you mean gets?
Bigger than, like, Lucy started off with quite large breasts. By the end, it was Jessica Rabbit proportions.
Yeah, even more of an extreme growth in Urza as well.
But knowing this mangaka, that their legs will just get 2 meters long, because that's apparently his thing, and it's like cool. I wasn't aware that was sort of that main stage fan servicey to sell a series on, though.
And now I'm imagining what kind of art evolution in fan servers Dr. Stone is going to get. I guess the positions are going to be even more JoJo-like.
Wait.
In the fight scenes.
Black Clover's already done this.
Eh?
Black Clover had the bath episode. It's already tried this and didn't have good enough art to make everyone's tits bigger.
I guess one.
How long is this conversation gonna go on for?
I guess one redeeming thing about this chapter is that fake Zerx is not as obnoxious as he used to be, for me in the earlier chapters. For props for toning him down, I guess. Does anyone else want to mention something about Black Clover, or shall we move on to Promised Neverland?
All right,
I'm happy to move on.
Right then, so
Jesus Christ, my dog just I think he just unleashed a whole pillowcase's worth of hair onto the sofa next to me.
Oh god.
Jesus Christ, mate. Anyway, sorry, let's continue.
So anyway, the Promised Neverland, chapter 52. So in this chapter, we see someone who really likes TV screens. Also, he's suggested to be William Minerva. Well, that escalated even quicker than I thought. But,
Evil.
But am I wrong in assuming we all think this probably isn't William Minerva?
Evil. Is so fucking evil.
I mean, if he was, that would be interesting, because
There's no way a dude sitting alone at the bottom of a bunker eating cookies isn't evil as hell.
It's definitely the cookies.
I mean,
it'd be even better if it was apples.
I'm just worried.
I do like the apple. Yeah, I do like when someone's eating an apple. This man is weird.
I'm just worried whether he was just waiting for them in this room, expecting them to go in, and so he struck this pose that made him look cool.
Oh yeah. Oh, you have to know he was positioning himself. You have to know he was like he was sitting there and he's like, all right.
I heard the door open. Okay, let's get everything lined up.
All right. Am I facing them? Am I gonna swivel the chair around? Is this a swivel chair? It's not. Okay, shit. Okay, feet on the ground, feet on the table, feet on the table. I want to look relaxed. Should I have the cookies? Is that too creepy? No, actually, it's just unnerving enough. Okay, cookies here. And...
So long as I'm not.
What else would be really creepy? Oh, okay, I'll just. Okay, this room looks too normal. I'd better grab 500 monitors from the other rooms and just put them behind me. Then it'll look cool.
All right. I got that. All right, how many gloves? Okay, one glove on one hand and just a normal hand on the other. Don't want to go too crazy there. And hopefully they're not going to notice that this teacup has a giant hole at the bottom, so there's not actually any pee in it. So I'm going to hold it anyway, because, they're going to question it at some point. I'm going to look like a doofus, but for the first 10 seconds, I'm going to look bitchin'.
Also...
Yeah. And this is all wasted effort, because this is the first time they see an adult male. So no wonder they're gonna be in awe. They're gonna be so surprised.
That's a good point. They've never seen an adult man before. With all the demons running around, how do they assume? Oh no, I guess Gracefield House had picture books of adult men.
Oh yeah.
So I was thinking, would you be able to draw the analogy to think, yes, this is definitely a human?
a human with magic, color-changing shoe soles. God, that's a tongue twister.
Now they've met this guy, and now they're gonna assume that this is how fashion for men is supposed to be.
Also, what the fuck's up with his beard?
What the fuck's up
Captain
with the
Morgan
lightning
thing's
bolts in
going
his
on.
hair?
Like his beards are lightning bolts across his chin. I was like, first of all, I was thinking, does he have massive cracks in his flesh? Just like, no, I guess that's a beard. That's not how beards grow, but okay.
Also, I can't tell if that's just like an artistic choice with the shirt, or if he has a giant Homer Simpson-esque beard.
Oh god. Right. So, I like the kids' little outbursts we have before they find the hideout. We spend so much time with the majority of them being super geniuses that sometimes I forget that some of them are 5-year-olds and should act like 5-year-olds. Also, Javert and Songtio have a confrontation now, apparently. So, any ideas of how this may turn out?
Wait. Okay. For a second, I was like, was it a joke, or is that character's name actually Javert? Because that's fucking awesome.
Well, a while ago, alright, you were on your hiatus, Jonah, but a while ago,
Yeah.
I've mentioned that. Okay, so this leader of this enforcer of the demons, is essentially a guy who'll find out the kids no matter what, and he refers to them by the 5-digit number. So of course he's Javert.
All right. So he's voiced as Russel Crowe now. I love that.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I really hope. Okay. If this just turns into like that scene from the movie where they're just like fighting and singing to each other, then these
Yes!
are my new 2 favorite characters. I'm really sad we're not going to see this.
Singing
Yeah,
might
that-
be a strong word for what Russell Crowe was doing in that movie.
But that's
What do you mean?
that's only
Isn't my voice majestic?
I have 2 notes.
just remind me. Did Valjean want to eat Gavroche and all the other kids?
Yes. That
I-
was a subplot cut from the movie. Oh,
Right.
God. I ain't doing that no more.
Do we have anything to say about Black Clover? Not Black Clover, Promised Neverland. Because
if Minerva is evil, I'm hoping he's like evil for reasons independent of the demons. I don't want him to be secretly working for them. Because I think
still don't know if this is William Minerva though.
Yeah.
Okay, if this guy is,
I assume there must be some kind of twist, because that's how it is with every person in this series. Where just like you thought they were kind of cool, but they have their own reasons for why they're doing their thing.
yeah.
Yeah, if this were William Minerva, then I guess we wouldn't have the big caption at the in the last page. Is this William Minerva?
yeah.
So I
Next chapter. Yes. The end.
I would put money on William Minerva not being the benevolent benefactor he's like the kids are building him up as. And like I would quite like him to have ulterior motives apart from just helping them and be like, you freed, but you can't go to the human side. That's just not. Will break the promise, and that's worth more to me than all of your lives.
and now you'll just go on living here, carrying monitors from one room to another.
We're gonna. I need you all here to collect monitors from around this world for my antique TV collection.
Who are you gonna sell it to?
I'm gonna be the first person to marathon every single episode of Friends at the same time. then I can die happily.
Sure. All right then. Shall we move on to We Never Learn?
All right. So the gist of it was, so the first chapter so last week's chapter was him going around to the teacher's house, her being scared of the bug, and then Ogata coming in, and there's a misunderstanding, but then she kind of learns to appreciate the teacher more. This week was Yuigi having to take up his mom's job in the lingerie shop.
Oh God.
Which just made me think back to that episode of Father Ted, where all of the priests are like stuck in a lingerie shop, and it's like treated like they're on an expedition through the jungle and they don't want to get caught. And it was pretty funny. But yeah, no. Last week's chapter wasn't great, but it at least quelled my worries that the teacher was going to become a member of the harem, because it's really not looking like they're playing it for that. So that's at least that's off my back. This week was it was a bunch of jokes about and of course all of the girls come into the lingerie shop to try on new underwear, and he has to try and cover up that it's him. So yeah.
I need to get my Jump subscription back and working again because I want to read this stuff. It sounds great.
Again, it mostly just made me want to watch the Father Ted episode again.
Eureka's mom is sick, so he has to go fill in that work. But doop-de-doo, it's a lingerie shop. Then doop-de-doo, I'm sorry.
Starring Rob Schneider.
Starring Rob Schneider as Takamoto.
I was going to say as the bra.
No. Rob Schneider as Takamoto, and Kevin Smith as everyone else. I hate this chapter so much.
I'll have to read it and see, but it sounds like the We Never Learn that I enjoy, which is essentially just that there is an obvious way to get out of this, in that the guy is essentially just like, I'm a grown-up who can explain that, hey, I'm working my mum's job for the day. This is awkward. I understand this. You can come back tomorrow, or I guess I can stand here and not think about the fact that you're getting changed in a changing room like everyone else who has come into this shop.
But that's not even the end of it. It's also just like, hey, the store owner is like an idiot who's just like, hey, we're gonna put you inside of this weird costume as well. Which, by the way, I don't know about how most like underwear shops work in Japan.
What?
But is that not the creepiest thing in the world, to have like a mascot character walking around?
What?
I know that everything in Japan has a mascot, including government agencies.
So for people who haven't read this chapter, what happens is Yuega has to go to his mother's work because his mother is really, really sick. So he goes only to find it's a lingerie shop. And then the owner's like, hey, it's okay. It's mostly older women who are here. So, they won't really mind. It'll be nice that a young man is helping.
No,
also, we're going to put you in this mascot uniform that makes, like, with a skirt and stuff. So, like, the assumption is that it's probably a female staff member under here. And you're just going to, like, point at stuff. Also, then the owner's like, oh, my daughter in her preschool has a fever, and I'm going to leave you, and you've got this. You've got the entire store, right?
That's not legal.
It's not legal, and it's also just like, I mean, can he even ring the cash register in that costume? It feels like...
Is he allowed to ring the cash register? It's like, seriously, it's like, hey kid, you're not on my books, I don't know you. Here's the keys to all the money in the store. Don't steal any now.
So how did he know? How did he not know that he's gonna end up in a costume, given that this is usually his mom's job?
I guess he just didn't know. I guess he just assumed like his mom was getting money from a tree or something. So then both Takamoto and Rizu come in. to get fitted for swimsuits, and he has to fit them for swimsuits, which is really awkward. Then, not only that, but then the teacher arrives. The teacher, who, by the way, pokes her head out of a changing room, assuming that she's been there for the entire day. Just in this change room for hours upon hours. Who then asks for some
What?
help.
I mean, was she cooking there for the regiment cuisine, or?
Who then
See-
apparently needs help unfastening her bra, because of course she fucking does. And
Because
then
that's the thing
This
that
whole
girls do.
chapter is just making me think back to like episodes of sitcoms written by Gray and Linehan. This is really weird. Now I'm thinking of the episode of IT Crowd where one of the characters got a bad bra and they tried to make like a brand new one or something.
and then the final girl appears too. Looking around, she's like, I need to find a swimsuit here because flat-chested character.
Oh, and like she tries the upper sizes just in case, but oh no, she's still an A cup.
And then she walks inside out to see that like Uega has been in the costume the whole time, and then she gets dead eyes, which is weird because out of all the people in the store, she had like no interaction with him in the costume, so I don't get what a big deal it is for him. Then he, I guess, buys her ice cream, which seems like this really should be the other way around. Because, again, like, she's super rich, and he's insanely broke, so this feels like...
Okay,
Feels odd.
I thought you meant that first he buys her ice cream and then she goes dead-eyed.
It's like, I hate ice cream so much.
See, you're ripping into this, but everything you've said so far makes me want to read this chapter because it sounds hilarious.
It's just so dumb. I
love just like watching Kastor slowly just discovering that he loves nonsense harem-antics.
I have a problem in that I like harem anime more than I think I should. Like, they can be clever, but even when they're dumb, I quite enjoy watching it and just reading through it. So that's dumb. Haha, that's dumb. All of these problems could be addressed if one of you could act like an adult, but no, you're kids. Haha, that's dumb.
It's not even that, though. It's that even the adults in this chapter are idiots. And just like, I like harem comedy at some point. I can see how this could be funny, but this is just so dumb in every single capacity. And there's so many contrivances just to get to this point. Like, I'm not like angry at it. I'm laughing the entire time, but I just, oh god.
So, speaking of underwear, shall we move on to Dr. Stone, where it doesn't exist?
Kohaku's ass, the chapter.
Yeah, we find out that in the new Stone Age world, underwear doesn't exist, at least in Kohaku's case. Which is strange, given that robe bikinis exist, but if they're already using leather to make clothes... Guys, I think we have a very important question to consider. When was underwear invented? Where do you think it would fit in Senku's tech tree? Before or after the penicillin?
I think there has to be polio in the stone world first. I don't think you can just make penicillin and be like, I mean, we got it now, I guess.
Yeah, I'm genuinely curious though. When was underwear invented?
Reasonably early on, I guess. Especially in Japan with the feudal classes.
Yeah, and Kastor was right. The next thing Senku wants to acquire is electricity. So, Barnaby, do you want to discuss any science stuff this week?
I would, if I hadn't fucked up and forgotten to read this chapter.
Oh. Okay, we'll buy you time then. So,
I'm scamming. Yeah, it's cool. It's electricity. It was the next step. It was exactly what he said it was going to be because he needs this for electrolysis. I am curious how he's storing it because I don't think he's made a battery yet.
Yep.
Also, holy shit, she is not wearing any underwear in any of these scenes. What the fuck is with this one where she's wrapped her leg around her spear so that her foot covers all of her naughty bits? What the fuck? First of all, what the fuck is with this scene and what the fuck is with that position? I'm now getting convinced after last week that no one here knows how to use a goddamn spear.
I hear Sunken Rock was very similar in its sensibilities on how it drew the female cast.
Sunken Rock was much worse than this. This is restraint for Boichi.
Sunken Rock had Ken defeat two BDSM nurse twins by fingering.
Oh god, no, we're not getting into this.
Well,
we're not getting into this.
This has now become a very different podcast.
It was very much a seinen manga, but it was amazing how much of the series was just like sort of like gritty, realistic fight scene, interspersed with really vivid and occasionally gross, just fan service, really explicit fan service. It appeared. It was really interesting to read because the art was great and the story was pretty fun. But then it got really weird all of a sudden. It's like, why is anyone reading this week to week or month to month? I can do it because I marathon, but why is this popular?
Even without the fan service, sometimes the poses in Dr. Stone are a little confusing. I didn't really know what Kohaku was doing in that last page and why she's wrapped her foot around that spear, and she did so just before the lightning hit her. So
I mean, maybe it's like she was flying through the air and. No, because she'd have to, like, reach the spear back and, like, stick it through, like, stick it behind her knee. Like, she had to make an active effort to do that.
Oh, sorry. I've been reading through this, and I've finally realised why the fuck they're making a lightning rod. It's to magnetize a whole bunch of iron, so they have a magnet that's large enough to get them electricity. It's not to store the electricity itself, which is actually very clever because that is the next step they need. I was thinking they'd shortcut it slightly and just say we can make a dynamo with this lodestone, but this is actually clever and works.
All right.
I find it absolutely hilarious that half of Gen's motivation for joining Tsukasa revolves entirely around him turning literal stone idols into figurative human idols and giving him his dream harem, which, by the way, gives us a very cute little panel from what was the name? Suika? Hello?
Yeah.
Suika's the smaller one.
Yeah. When she I think someone I can't obviously see it myself because I don't have access to the official release, but I think someone tweeted, was it Hair M?
Oh yeah, Hair M.
Which only works in American and Canadian accents, but yeah. A neat little wordplay. Yeah, and come to think of it, it also makes sense that Tsukasa gains allies by reviving people he already knows that, like him, are also famous. Because I think he was also known from the telly, like Gen, right?
Like it. I think it was. They knew who he was at sight. At the time, I got the impression of he was known in the neighborhood as this insanely strong fighter. But seeing as the dude literally killed lions with his bare hands, I would not be surprised if he was on TV. But beforehand, I don't think it was stated as such.
Man, I just had a thought. So he's going around trying to revive like really well-known people. What if he revives someone who just happens to be the lookalike of a celebrity? Is like, oh, I thought I revived an Olympic athlete, but it's just some guy who has a face slightly like him. What are we gonna do with him now?
And it's just the Zonge of that group. Also, Gen becomes Kara from Undertale as he plays with flowers and his eyes get weird. Ah, damn it! If only Greil were here to understand my obscure Undertale references. Yeah. Yes, and the result of the chapter is that now we can charge Taiju's smartphone. So yeah. Do we have anything else to mention? Any theories of how Senku's gonna? Well, I guess there was a tech tree, but how Senku's gonna use the electricity?
I'll say that I still like Gen a lot. I think that he adds a really nice energy to the cast. And I think that now that it seems like he is going to be on Senku's side going forward, I'm looking forward to see where they go with him.
Yeah, especially seeing as they're starting to like ramp up the opposition within the village to Senku. I'm looking forward to see like this essentially the civil war of the village on which side they fall. Yeah. But no, as to what they're using the electricity for, it's electrolysis to get the chemicals he needs.
Okay, so if no one has anything else to add, shall we finish things up?
All right.
So that is gonna do it for this week of Stammer Stream. Thank you for watching either on my YouTube channel or live at twitch.tv/Wensleydale Cheddar. We usually try to record on Tuesdays at noon Eastern Standard Time, 5 PM GMT and 6 PM GMT +1. You can follow me on Twitter at WensleyCheddar for updates on the stream, on Penganza, Friendly Faces Everywhere, Iffy Reviews, and many other projects. Follow Milo at Hovin with an H for anime waifus, Cabal Hijinks, and the Cabal Cast, which is definitely coming, guys. And wait for it, I'm going to mention it later. Follow Dr. Nova at Jonah Loves Snow for his WMR Choose Your Own Adventure game, the link to which you can find in the YouTube description below. And follow Kastor at Kastor UK for Trial by Guilty Crown, a podcast he does with Milo, but it's on Milo's channel, and Kastor doesn't tweet anything about it. So I guess just follow Milo for that.
Follow me for it.
Subscribe to his channel on YouTube, and that is Milo's the Creator. Isn't that right?
I don't know if it's properly. It's either Milo's the Creator, or I might have changed it to Hovin with an H because I changed my. Yeah, no, it's Hovin with an H now.
Oh, okay, so
not one word either.
Okay, so Hovin with an H. For more of him ripping off my opening catchphrase.
I think I avoided it in the second one. I need to get.
We
that
didn't
edited.
say welcome 22 times, so I think we're good.
To be fair, lately it's been in the scripts I'm doing. It's 3 welcomes, but it just escalates from that. I just can't help myself. It's a reflex action at this point. So it's like amassing. It's like amassing monitors in your room. You have 3, but then you just think you need to have more, right? Yeah. So be sure to visit our One Piece RP forum, One Dream Adventure Reborn, to write some lovely stories with us and talk about manga in general. odar.comforums.com is the address. Do we have anything else we want to mention?
Nope.
Not really.
No, I'm good.
Alright then. So, once again, cheers for watching, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.